We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
One less presidential candidate, Americans have a negative view of the economy, striking back against anti-Semitism, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. More than 1,600 Jewish alumni of Harvard University have threatened to withhold donations to the school amid rising incidents of anti-Semitism on the Harvard campus. In an open letter published Friday, members of the Harvard College Jewish Alumni Association criticized the university for not doing more to combat anti-Semitism in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war. In order to try and bring the two sides together, the letter asked Harvard faculty for a meeting in person with the alumni leadership to discuss concrete plans to ensure the protection of Jewish students on campus. The letter was signed by high-profile donors, such as Pershing Square founder Bill Ackman and former Victoria's Secret CEO Leslie Wexner. Israeli officials said Sunday that they were ready to assist in the evacuation of babies from Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, which has gone dark amid the continued war between Israel and Hamas. At least 2 babies have already died and dozens more are at risk, as cutoffs of electricity, internet, and supplies have forced Gaza's largest hospital to shut down. Israel also continued with an overall mission to evacuate hospitals in northern Gaza, where most of the fighting has been concentrated. The hospitals need to be evacuated so we can deal with Hamas, said Israeli military spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner. We intend on dealing with Hamas, who have turned hospitals into fortified positions. Americans continue to have an increasingly pessimistic attitude about the economy, according to data released Friday. The University of Michigan's measure of consumer sentiment fell 5% in November, the 4th straight month that economic sentiments dropped after having risen this past summer. The drop was likely due to increasing interest rates and high prices at the pump and grocery stores. Long-term expectations of inflation were also increasing, according to the data, as the most Americans since 2011 now believe that high prices are here to stay. The university reported that consumers are expecting prices to rise at least 3.2% annually over the next 5 to 10 years. This all occurs as President Biden has been traveling the country, talking about the effects of Bidenomics. Senator Tim Scott said Sunday he was suspending his campaign for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. I think the voters, who are the most remarkable people on the planet, have been really clear that they're telling me not now, Scott said on former GOP Representative Trey Gowdy's Fox News program. The announcement appeared to surprise Gowdy, and some of Scott's own staff told NBC News they didn't know he had decided to drop out. Scott, the son of a single mother, ran on a hopeful message based on his rise from poverty to becoming the only black Republican in the Senate. But he struggled in the polls and with fundraising after a promising start. More than 100,000 people participated in a march in Paris on Sunday to protest rising anti-Semitism since the start of the Israel war against Hamas. The Associated Press reported that tens of thousands more marched in other French cities. Political leaders from the left, center, and right participated in the Paris demonstration under heavy security. President Emmanuel Macron, who didn't attend, urged French citizens to oppose the unbearable resurgence of unbridled anti-Semitism. France has Europe's largest Jewish population and has faced anti-Semitism flare-ups in the past. It has recorded 1,247 anti-Semitic acts since Hamas fighters conducted a deadly surprise attack in southern Israel on October 7th, nearly triple the total in 2022. The Pentagon said Sunday that the U.S. had conducted a new flurry of airstrikes against Iranian proxy fighters in Syria in response to dozens of recent attacks against U.S. troops in the country and in neighboring Iraq. The strikes killed an undetermined number of Iranian-backed fighters and marked an escalation in U.S. retaliation for the upsurge of attacks since the outbreak of the Israel-Hamas war. Tensions also intensified along Israel's border with Lebanon after Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants fired anti-tank missiles from southern Lebanon into Israel, injuring 18 Israelis, one critically, in the latest escalation of skirmishes along that border. The FBI's investigation of New York Mayor Eric Adams is focused on whether he pressured fire department officials to approve Turkey's new high-rise consulate in Manhattan, despite lingering building safety questions, the New York Times reported Sunday, citing 3 people familiar with the matter. Weeks after Adams won the Democratic primary and shortly before his election 2 years ago, he urged the fire commissioner to let the Turkish government occupy the building, at least temporarily. That cleared the way for Turkish President Erdogan to preside over the $300 million 35-story tower's grand opening in September 2021 during a visit to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.